Good morning, good afternoon, good day, and good evening. Now, I don't know what time of day it is for you, but for me, it's a good time of day. We are back at it again today, and it is another lovely, wonderful day. And we are talking about, hopefully for the last time I intend to talk about it, we're going to be talking about Kevin Samuels, and specifically about the death of Kevin Samuels. Some things that are bothering me in regards to it, and it's nothing new that hasn't already been discussed. But before we really hop into that, I'm going to ask that you guys do me a favor. Been a little under the weather here lately. Apologize for all the multiple changes and switch ups that came about yesterday in regards to the stream, because yesterday I was not feeling well. For those of you guys who know me or don't know me, I guess I'm going to overshare a little bit. I do get migraines, and yesterday was a day when I had some pretty bad migraines going on yesterday. So this was a situation where I thought I was going to be streaming, and lo and behold, I wasn't. And it was because of the migraines and because of the headaches and whatnot there, and the inability to see and the like that preempted and interrupted me being able to get on here and stream yesterday and to be able to talk about this subject, which would have been a lot more timely yesterday than it is today. Today, it seems like it's definitely out of sorts. Today, it's going to be almost old news, if you will. So I don't plan on keeping you guys too long tonight. We'll see if we can get to 15, 20 minutes today, because this is not a subject that really needs a whole lot of rehashing, because a lot of this information that I wanted to cover yesterday is now out, and yeah, so that's where we're at. But if you do like what we are doing, if you like the content that we're putting out here, do me a favor. Drop down in there. Give me one of those YouTube deals, the click, the like, the comment, the subscribe, share the videos with your people. And we're going to be doing something here new and over the next weeks. I've been talking to some people. They said that the videos are long and that they would like for me to start clipping them. So there will be a lot of videos that will be clipped and that will be put on for you guys here in the upcoming weeks. So bear with me here. There's going to be, if you see an influx of content, it's going to be some old, some new. I'm going to start recording some other things as well, and we're going to have it up there. Also, by all means, if you like what we're doing and you want to support, in addition to the Cash App and the PayPal, join the Patreon. I am going to be putting a lot more videos up over there on the Patreon as well. So with that being said, let's jump right into this subject. Like I said, I don't want to long stroke it. I don't want to keep you guys here a little longer than what you need to be, a lot longer than what you want to be, and we're just going to hop right into it right now. So let's get into this, if you don't mind. And what are we talking about? We're talking about Kevin Samuels, and specifically what we're talking about. And yesterday I had all the graphics and everything else that was going to come up for it. And I looked at it today, and I'm like, I don't think that I'm going to do all those graphics for it today, because all of that stuff is now old news. So the police report, old news. The individual who was involved in it, I'd say there's two of them, and specifically I guess that's kind of where I'm at with this, because the name was spelled two different ways, and they're based off of the two different ways that the name is spelled, comes up with two different people. And one of them is a nurse, and the other one is just an Instagram individual who has now taken their Instagram following and has made it private. And I can definitely understand that if you're not the individual involved. And I guess let me not bear the lead. And what it is I'm really concerned with right now is the lack of an autopsy in regards to Kevin Samuels and his situation. And his situation, as if dying is a situation, but it's the lack of an autopsy in regards to someone who has a level of fame and acclaim, and the fact that we're not talking about an autopsy with that individual, or that individual being privy to an autopsy at this point. And that's not saying that there's not one, and because I'm sure I've been seeing a lot of things out there right now where Dennis Sperling, who is a friend of the family, who was a friend of Kevin Samuels, a personal friend of Kevin Samuels, and a licensed attorney here in the state of Texas, I am assured, or I believe that at this point, Dennis would pursue an autopsy, even if you're sure that everything's on the up and up. You will pursue an autopsy just to make sure. It's kind of like, well, in this space, we talk about paternity a lot. So when dealing with men, we talk about paternity. We talk about the need for paternity testing. And this would be a situation where even if you trust the woman that you're with and you believe her and everything else, it doesn't hurt to have a paternity test. As a matter of fact, many men believe that myself included, that paternity test should be something that's required prior to signing the birth certificate. So if you're going to be put on the hook and you're going to be the father on the record for a long period of time, then paternity should be determined not just because you feel that way or the other party says that you should feel that way. There's that old adage that my grandmother used to use a lot of times. She would say, "Mama's baby, daddy's maybe." And if you're dealing with mama's baby, daddy's maybe, it should be mama's baby, daddy's baby. And both of them should be just as confident, just as sure, just as rock solid in their belief and understanding, not just because the baby came out of one individual, but that the baby came out of both individuals, right? So in that situation, it's one of those things that's really important. And I use that as an analogy for what's going on right now with Kevin Samuels and his death. I think that just because we can trust or we believe or don't think that anything, any foul play, as they like to say in the movies or whatever, if you don't think there's any kind of foul play or anything that happened, then there's no issues or there shouldn't be an issue with going in and checking and just validating, verifying that that's exactly what it is. And I think that Kevin Samuels and the type of individual that he is, he deserved nothing less than to verify or to validate that this is something that did or did not happen in regards to his death. And it actually was just something that was just an unfortunate chain of events that happened in regards to his death. And I don't want to say I'll put, well, because the family might have some input in it, and I don't know. And this is not me. And it sounds, I should have really thought that expression come before it came on my lips at this point, because the intent here is not to impugn anything or to state that the family has done anything wrong. What I'm saying is that the family has some say in whether or not an autopsy is performed. I had a family friend who passed on the operating table, and everybody understood pretty much exactly what happened in that situation, but we still had an autopsy that was done just to verify and validate that nothing else happened, even though this individual, he passed in the process of having an operation, and just want to make sure that everything was on the up and up, so to speak, and just to validate what it is that we were being told. So the autopsy happened just to validate and just to be sure. That being said, if someone like that, or in our lowly circles, that's something that we do, I think that it's just as important to validate or to make sure that someone in Kevin Samuel's situation, the same thing would happen with him. And I'm going to ask you guys to give me a minute here. I'm going to need to take care of something. Okay, and we're back. I apologize for that. I was having an issue on one of those cameras, and I wanted to make sure that I could get that resolved going forward. But that being said, getting back to Kevin Samuels, so when looking at it, it becomes readily apparent that something should happen with him. And I'll be honest with you, I listened to the audio recording of the 911 call, and if I'm being honest, I was a little disturbed. And what disturbed me the most about that situation was listening to someone who has the credentials and the accreditation of being a nurse, and being a nurse for a number of years, and looking at that situation and listening to it, I was really upset that it didn't sound like that person either they hadn't been a nurse for as long as it looks like they've been a nurse, or they hadn't had a whole lot of experience as being a nurse, because they didn't go to work. And I say that as and granted, there's a bias and a prejudice that I'm coming in at this with, and the bias is that I have a family full of nurses, and a lot of these young ladies in my family and young men that are in my family that do nursing understand. Whenever something happens, I give you an example. There was a lack of confidence that I heard in the 911 call. And the lack of confidence, and you forgive me, I was over here fiddling around with a cable that looked like it messed up on something over here. But the lack of confidence in listening to this young lady as she was attending to Kevin Samuels and seeing that he was turning blue is how it ended. But all the way up until that point, she didn't go to work. I guess is what I'm alluding to. And I am holding it to a bar, and the bar that I'm holding it to is that I've been around nurses within the family, and if we had a family emergency, so we have a gathering of the family, and there's a family emergency there, and this has happened on a couple of occasions. And when the family emergency occurs, the family member who's a nurse, with their loved one sitting there going through this emergency, goes to work just like that. And it becomes readily apparent they take charge of the situation. It's give me this, do this, I need this, while they're performing CPR and the like for that family member. And it's one of those things when you're watching it that you recognize almost immediately that this is something that this person is going to work almost immediately. And in listening to the 911 call, it became readily apparent that that's not what happened here. That the individual who was there did not immediately go to work. They were extremely emotional, highly volatile. So it leads me to believe that either they were not trained or not experienced. I shouldn't say trained, not experienced as a healthcare practitioner, had not seen a lot of these issues before, or something else. And again, this is not saying that something foul had happened. However, I would definitely like to see the police and the family pursue an autopsy. Not saying that they're not right now. And if Dennis Sperling he's involved as an attorney, I'm hoping that he definitely is pursuing that as well with them, and making sure that everything is on the up and up, so to speak. And I want to say welcome on in, Westradamus. I told everybody, and I'm going to apologize to you as well right now, because yesterday I had a migraine and I kept pushing back that time until I was like, this ain't going away. And so I just got in right now. So how are you feeling today with my brother?
Number one, don't apologize, man. We family, things happen. We're human, and never apologize for being human. And just like with this tragedy that has occurred, it's even more important that we start listening to our bodies. So listen to your body. I don't know if you used to watch the program back in the day. That movie is "Are you hurt or are you injured?" You know,
Yeah.
yeah, you were injured.
Yeah.
You wasn't hurting. All right. But yeah, man, I'm blessed, man, and I'm just enjoying the ride.
Outstanding, outstanding. I listened to O'Shea today. He talked almost about what you just stated a moment ago in regards to Kevin. And the one thing I just came back and I was going to talk about it yesterday, and I guess it's kind of old news today. I'm sure that everyone has now heard the audio from the 911 call that came in for Kevin Samuels from his apartment, along with the police report, to see the police report that happened the other day as well, where we were looking at the two different spellings of Miss Alcantara's name. So there was one who is a Instagram individual, and the other one who actually is a nurse. So, and the two of them kind of got confused, and I guess both of them, one of them did not deny that she was there. The other one did say definitively that she was the one that was with Kevin that night. Um, and so one, I'm looking at shoddy police work there, and the other thing that I was I guess I got my tinfoil hat on a little bit, but I would really like to see or hope, even if it's not shared with us, that they do a thorough autopsy in regards to Kevin Samuels at this point, because and I'm not placing any blame, but I think that when you have somebody of his profile and his stature, I think that a full autopsy, is definitely warranted and is in order in this situation. And I'm not sure if maybe I'm off base here, and I'm not sure if maybe I'm the only one seeing it that way. But that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm not placing blame because I don't know, but I would like to kind of have that feeling assuaged a little bit, have that rubbed over. I don't know, how do you feel about that?
Um, well, that's gonna be based on the family.
Mm,
Um, so it's like whatever like the mother or the daughter wants ultimately. Of course, once you're such a public figure, you're no longer, like your families. You're kind of like everybody. You're kind of part of like everybody's family, so everybody feel like they know you. So I do understand that everybody would like to have that closure, but ultimately that closure has to be given by the family. And then after that, even they do get the autopsy report, is now that's become public record, and at that, then another frenzy will happen. So it's going to be a lot of things for them to really think about.
Yeah. So were you able to hear or did you listen to the 911 call with Kevin Samuels and the has a when has a
Um, I listened to I listened to some of them. Some of it is just I was I was like just a thought just hit me. It's like all right, we don't know what type of nurse this is. That's the first thing. It's like, okay, she said she's a nurse, and then it was like, all right, so what type of nurse are you? Like, because most of the time, um, from protocols that I have heard, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, I am certified in getting CPR,
mm-hmm.
but I'm nobody. Just common sense. Well, what you see on TV, what you see, what I seen from training is you're supposed to administer CPR until the cops get there. Call 911. In between, you give them CPR, you give the information, and keep on administering CPR until you get there. You don't just get on the phone and ask for a defibrillator.
Right.
But no, it's just an unfortunate situation. Yeah, it's just sickening. Like I'm just looking at all the circus and the circus. That's just sickening. Even with I'll even go on record, with saying this, just with all the clout chasing, just sickening, and just like, and then after that, you get to see uh, people's true faces. Like I have seen, um, like I thought this person was real, but now you start to see people have their own agendas and trying to profit off this, and yeah, just sickening to me.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I started this stream off with this is hopefully my last time talking about this.
No, you already know it's gonna be one because you already know what the autopsy report drops, or something else is gonna drop in the future, and after that, just the final countdown. You might have to do probably about one or two more, or 1 year after Kevin, passed away, would have changed. We have more shows to do. It's just we're not gonna, or at least I'm not going to clout chase.
That's what I say, and that's my goal here is not clout chasing at all. Let me read this got a chat here. It says the reason why he is hated so much is because he exposes the social ills of the black women. It's just that simple. I would agree with that. There's a lot of hate going out towards him. I definitely don't want to disseminate any of that. I want to leave that exactly where that's at as far as the hate that they have for him. I feel it's sad if individuals want to sit there and tap dance on his grave right after he's passed. And the way that his mother finds out about him passing is through social media and a lot of the horrible things that are said about her son. So
Yeah.
both the mother and the daughter finding out about their father, I mean the father and the son passing in that manner, that's it was sad, and it does have to as in for the vast majority of it, it was a lot of black women that did come out after him, which it hurt me being a black man because I really believe in the black family and I love my sisters. But that one was one where I looked at it and I was like, okay, that was really sad there. And let me see what else do we have here from Gospel News.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we identify, because it's not like a blanket. It's just a certain segment of women that
Yeah,
are doing this, and you have to understand that they are mothers, and these mothers are teaching the youth. So when we look at it in a macro perspective, do we truly have a chance?
I don't. As a do we have?
Like, because put it like this, we have. I might go on my soapbox real quick, so excuse me.
Get on it. Get on it. Get on it.
All right. All right. We have so much degenerative, degenerate, excuse me, behaviors, such as people on rap music, right? Talking about calling people derogatory terms all day, every day, right? And then whenever the person dies, then after that they deify that person. All right, all right, and they're not saying not a bad thing about this person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, we have celebrated, people who have committed crimes, unspeakable crimes, all right, and we allow them just to walk around and do nothing. And some of them are actually celebrated, you know. And then just because this man had some opinions, he just pointed out something, okay? His opinions does not hurt you physically. It just go against what you are idealistically. All right, like anything what Mr. Samuels has said did not hurt anybody in their pocketbook. It's like, hey, he's not taking money out. He ain't taking money out of you. He's not putting you in danger. He's not putting you at risk for nothing. All right, just a couple opinions, just a couple words, and people want to, a certain segment of people want to dance on his grave.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sickening. And then on the flip side of it, people who have never met this man, some of the incels, they want to start crying. Like I don't get that one either. It's like, hey, he's just crying. Like, is this man like your daddy? Like, did you actually meet this guy? Like, did you actually know how he operated and things like that? Like, why are you crying? Especially on video, on camera, because we talk about women crying on camera. Like, hey, you just, you seen some chicks get on Facebook Live and record themselves crying and stuff like that. Hey, it's the same thing. We see men on here, crying. Like, can we stop with the cloutness or fakeness or whatever you want to, with the attention seeking, and all that good stuff? Like, can we just stop? I was like, and just treat it for like it is. Like, hey, and say, hey, we feel for the family, because everybody here has seen death or has met death before. All right, and it hurts whenever you love somebody and they pass away. All right, especially for her mother, the daughter, matter of fact, probably ex-wife. You don't feel something, all right, just keep them in your prayers and stop all this crying and necromancy. Just start worshiping because he's dead now. It's like, hey, take the lessons that you have and move forward. I'm sorry, off box.
No, I got you. I say, but yeah, I say so. And let me read these two chats as well as as you're going. So from Gospel News again, he says this kind of hate only comes from people being told the truth. Otherwise, they wouldn't care. And his second follow up was, shall we say, the ratchet. So as I definitely agree with that aspect of, I shouldn't say just those individuals, but yeah, it is definitely ratchet people wanting to defame him just because he's passed now, and that's sad. And like I can definitely see what you're saying. People trying to clout chase by utilizing or crying and showing fake tears or crocodile tears, so to speak, in order to gain a following. So,
or like every 5 minutes you're posting a video about them, or like I looked at Sperling's thing talking about, oh, we're going to start suing you for defamation. I was like, Mr. Sperling, like, you are a lawyer, sir. Shame on you for that. Like New York Times, New York. I'm like, sir, I respect you. I respect what you do. I respect what you have done in the community. I respect everything. Respect your name, respect your business acumen. But this right here, you're doing too much.
You just going a little bit too far. I was like, sir, you know the law. Um, in order for to get the defamation, you have to know what you're saying is wrong. And it has to be malicious. All right. And at the time, hey, all the rumors were swirling around, so people didn't know no definite answer. There's going off of everything. Even me, I was a part of it because it's like, hey, man, I just don't know what's going on. I say, hey, I'm thinking some type of conspiracy thing. I'm thinking a whole bunch of other things, All right. So therefore, people just merely speculating. And talking about, oh, a whole bunch of people's gonna get sued. I'm like, sir, that's disingenuous.
I think he's trying to protect the family. I think that's what he's trying to do. Uh, that's the only thing I'm not gonna say the only thing, but that's primarily what I'm thinking of in this situation with him. Is that he's probably looking to protect the family. And I agree with you that the burden of proof to prove defamation is extremely high, and it's not something that's an easily surmountable thing. And many of the people that he's talking about suing right now, I think most of them also understand that what's being stated is, I, I, I don't want to say a peremptory strike, but that's kind of what he's trying to do, is trying to get out ahead of it. But no, there is no defamation at this point, for the most part, for most of the people that are out there. And even if you're talking about with the young lady who is talking, and I don't know if he's representing her as well in this situation, saying that there's nothing there. And I'm not saying that there is anything there or not anything there. What I am saying is that I would love to see them do a thorough autopsy and to take all doubt out of the way. I use the analogy.
And deposition.
Yeah, I say, because a lot of times today, most people in this space where Kevin Samuels he inhabited, the manosphere space, they would acknowledge that paternity test, even if you've been with this woman for a hot minute, is something that's just advantageous, something that you should do. It should be a matter of law. There's an old adage, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And this is something where they should look at it and go, okay, in this situation, a high profile case, even though we believe that by all intents, he's 56, he's relatively young, he shouldn't have passed, but we think that everything is on the up and up here. Having a autopsy in order to validate that statement, I don't see anything. I don't see that any differently than having a paternity test, even if you trust the woman that you're with, or having it as a matter of law. So in this situation, I think that there's enough there that a full blown paternity, a full blown autopsy is something that definitely should be looked into at this time. And I'm not saying it's not being done. It just they haven't talked about the autopsy. I know we're talking about, or I see with both O'Shea and Dennis Sperling, they're talking about having a memorial for him on Saturday, but I don't know if that means that they've already interred him or they've already buried him. But I would much rather have seen an autopsy done along with that prior to putting him in the dirt, so to speak.
I agree.
And let me read this real fast. I'm going to let you get another word in here. It says, "No man will go beyond the lifetime allotted by God." Got that? Yeah, I say, and you said
Amen.
yeah. So you
Oh,
have,
wait.
I was going to. You said you agree with that as a. So did you have I know you said it's the family that has to push that through. Do you think that if the police believe that there might be something that we could have, that they might look into a little further, or do you think that they've already released the body and that's it?
Just looking, just by the way that he died, where it says cardiac arrest, normally when somebody used that terminology, that means some type of stimulant was involved. I know, oh man, like the whole, oh wow, just what everybody's saying, all the speculation of what everybody's saying, like wow, man, I've heard everything, from what, wow, just hey, he's doing cocaine, doing line of cocaine, doing um, mixed with Red Bull and all that good stuff. But one thing that I feel that's not being said, and I don't know if I might be the first to say it or anything like that, but um, their Carolina status, because of
Mm,
Carolina
could
has
be.
been known because Carolina has been known to um, have have done things to the heart, and that's by studies, especially like with the youth, So uh, with that Carolina status as well, did that take effect in there as well, So um, just speculation, just to add to the speculation, because everybody wants to
Everybody wants.
say just Red Bulls and and any other stimulants are out there plus Viagra, and that's what took him out. But what makes you think that it may not be a Carolina issue as well?
A complication from it, from dealing with her. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we don't know.
Yeah. I say we're not exactly sure of all the different repercussions that come from dealing with Coraline when she turned 19. So that's definitely something that's there. I say where you're concerned with it, or could be a concern with it. So that's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even really consider too much of that. Um, and
Yeah. Because like, hey, he traveled, all right, and there's a point in time, and he was traveling. I'm not trying to speculate, but I'm just
all right,
grabbing just tea leaves and things
yeah,
like that. He was traveling at a time where we were in lockdown, where they said like, "Hey, you have to be fully vaccinated for you to travel." So he was traveling then. So I don't know the personal dealings with Mr. Samuels, but you could be traveled by bus, but I don't think a person would travel from L.A. to Atlanta to New York to Miami in a bus.
no, no. I doubt that. He even spoke about air travel. So I highly doubt that.
Yeah, so or anything else, or train, or whatnot. I'm not saying that he's above it, but it seems like he's a flashy kind of guy, So and then plus he's older, so therefore, in the older population. I don't know if you read that study in the Milwaukee Journal, Wisconsin Journal, where it says 40% of vaccinated. I mean, Valentine people.
Mm-hmm.
40% of Valentine people were fully Valentine whenever they passed away. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, man. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's, and then after that, you don't know what comorbidities that he had as well. But then again, he has looked great, and he looked great. But yeah, man, it's just, to me, it just seems like there's so many other different um, things, to take into it. Um, did the lady know him? Yes. All right, but how well? Because he can easily went there once and then pillow talk her one day and say, "Hey," because it's not a secret that he has a daughter, because he said that he has a daughter. It's not a secret that he had an ex-wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, and his mother, right? So, and he's talked about his mother before, so it's not like a secret. So anybody um, can say that over the phone and things like that, because that's something natural you would say. So yeah, I'm just saying, that I think there's more to the story, and I think people out there know more to the story than what they're letting on. And there's a lot of people moving suspiciously uh, that's in the quote unquote manosphere, or in the relationship era, relationship portion of YouTube. And matter of fact, I saw one channel. It's called Kevin Samuels Roast Network, and yeah, man, that dude was going in. Yeah, he said, "Let me roast in peace," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness," just a lot of craziness going on. And it's just the circus, and just like what I did say before. I say, hey, we're really going to start finding out about Mr. Samuels. And one thing I do have to say is, I bet if he had like a wife, I bet if he had a wife at the time, um, I think he'll probably be living because the wife's going to be checking on you and nagging on you about your health, you know, or at least a caring one.
Yeah, I said it was funny because like you talk about all the different people that are coming out of the woodwork. Everybody now has something negative to say about him. Is interesting, but I agree with you. And let me get some of these chats in here as well. We have Bernie Mac was young. There was no question or assumption, and that's true. He was young when he passed as well.
That's my man.
Yeah, it says seven. There's Dre. He says, "My brother, shout out to you both. Shout out to you." I say, brother Dre. Actually, he just came on up, so let me pull him on up as well. And then we have a King Kunta here. He says he was my hero. And let's see. And then the next one, because he normally trolls me, says everything I would like to be. All right, and he got okay. So that brother likes to troll me a little bit there. All right. So as a Dre, how you feeling tonight? We're talking about Kevin Samuels. Do you have anything you want to add in on that with us, brother?
Yeah, peace, black man. It's definitely a pleasure. Always being with black men. You brothers know how I roll. I'll tell you, brothers. SB, if you remember, I shot you a text because I didn't even think it was true initially when I had heard it. I just thought it was, one of those things that people do. You know what I mean? They were, and then it was the Kosher Commission who actually confirmed it. I'll tell you, black men, this, and I'm, obviously y'all know my perspective is slightly different. I actually applaud this, and I tell black men to always be encouraged because if these women and people and black men as well can relish in the demise of another black man simply because you didn't agree or you didn't like the way, I'll tell you, black men, something, and this is why I hate this biased racist country, because you don't like when black men tell you the truth. That's what you really don't like. You applaud Simon Cowell. You brother stop me when I'm wrong. I know I just got a GED and I'm just a dumb nigga from the prison. But you applaud Simon Cowell. You don't have a problem with him. Yes.
Hey, Awesome Dre. Hey, man.
Yes, sir.
Never demean yourself like that, brother.
No. I like to talk like this, Western Diamonds, because it's my way of playing dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a dumb nigga. I don't know nothing, but I'll tell you this. But nobody has a problem when Simon Cowell has degraded and talk. What about the other cook? What's his name? Gordon Ramsay. Whenever a white man is saying something that you don't like, he's just telling the truth. He's authentic. You should have thicker skin. But the truth of the matter is this country does not respect black men. And when a black man is, that's at the heart of this thing. When a black man is saying anything that does not line up in 100% congruence with the message, then it is a problem. And so that is, and because our women respect us so little, they don't see us as men, period. So the truth is, who is a black man? Who is Western Diamonds to tell me? Who is SB to tell me? Who is Andrew? Who are these guys? Who is another black man to criticize me? And that's why I tell brothers, this why brothers shouldn't this should strengthen and harden your stance. This is further confirmation to black men all over this country to focus on yourselves, to get your finances in order, to take care of all the things that you need to do to create opportunities for yourself in order to excel. This is what Kevin, I believe, brothers, that something will come positively from this. Black men will see, black men are starting to wake up. Black men are, because we have been asleep and we are asleep. The truth be told, brothers, I believe that we are lions. But what has happened is this country has lulled us to sleep. And what has happened is a lion is starting to wake up. Just because a lion is sleeping doesn't mean it isn't a lion. And black men all over, from the streets to white collar brothers like yourselves, to blue collar brothers, are starting to wake up. They are starting to come back to each other, starting to build with one another. Black men, it's gonna be a special time. It's gonna be a special time to be a black man. And I believe that Kevin played a major role in that. And lastly, I'll add this. Black men, we got too much conspiracy theories in our community. That's another thing that I think every time something happens to a black man, it's always a product of the government. Maybe it was a product of a bad choice. Maybe I remember when the brother Pimp C died, you know what I'm saying? And, the first thing is black people, we're quick to jump to a conspiracy theory to think that there's some. What about the fact that the brother had sleep apnea and he drank a lot of lean? How about that? You know, so I just think that we have to get caught up less on those things and more caught up on the things that we can control, the things that are tangible, and the things that we can see. Respectfully, I yield to you, brothers.
No
I
worries.
have a question for both of y'all.
Mhm.
Dre, shout out to you, my man. Good to
sir.
see you, brother.
Yes.
Always SB. All right. So, do you believe? Matter of fact, even to the chat as well, Gospel News, and King Kunta as well. Do y'all believe that we are looked upon as still 3/5 of a person by our women?
Wonderful question. Man, SB, you don't mind.
Go for it.
This
Go
your platform. Let me
Go for it, bro. Go.
thank you.
Take
We've never gotten away from it. We've never gotten away from it. And all we have to do, Westradamus, is just pay attention to the signs. My man told me one time that signs and symbols are for the conscious mind. And I never forgot this. See, a lot of times we like to listen to people. And we have all of these laws that say certain things. And they look good on paper. But when you go looking for these things in the public sector, and when you go looking for these things where you brothers are, you know what I'm saying, in different areas, you find that doors are not necessarily open. And our women have learned, our women just don't respect us. But like I tell brothers, this is not something that you should be concerned with. The question is, why don't you take your respect? That is the bigger question to me. Because see, SB, I can think one thing, you can think something about me, but if you're not willing to take from me what you want, then why do you think you should get anything from me? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that to me, black men, is at the heart of this, is that yes, to just get back on task, yes, I 100% believe that our sisters, they think that we are, that's why they protect the white man. They love to protect his money. Black women are white man's guard dogs for his money. Y'all brothers, stop me if I'm lying. Y'all know them black women love to compete with y'all in corporate America for a white man. So come on, they love to compete with y'all. Get up there and kiss Master Charlie's ass every opportunity they get.
Yeah, I say.
No, I ain't lying.
No, I say I'll take it a step further for you. I say a lot of times what it is that loving to, you can say something, and our sister will sit there like, argue you down. White man said something, and it's when he says, and that's where I say that as somebody who's been in corporate America as well, and sitting out there as a not just dealing from a legal standpoint, but being in there dealing with IT and the like. I said, among others, my word held weight. Among my own people, specifically our sisters, my word held no weight. As a matter of fact, it was watching the interaction with them for between where I would get the respect as I can go into the corporate, I can go in a boardroom, and everyone else will treat me as a peer and will respect. I say if I come in there and I state something that this is what we need to do, this is why we need to do it, and give my opinion on it as far as if I'm consulting or whatever, and it's okay. The sisters are always, that's where I knew where my biggest detractors were going to be, were with our sisters. Yeah. It's something that I'm still struggling. I'm trying to figure out how do we change that, or how do we get around that? Because like you said, if a white man said it, oh, it was great.
Yes.
I said it, and it's like, oh, well, maybe. And it's the constant argument about it. And it's the statement of, oh, the one that always kills me is, oh, I know that you have experience saying this, or I know that you do this for a living, and I know that you, and when you get that statement, it immediately, at least for me, I go, okay, there's no respect there. I don't need to push that any further. We don't need to talk about what my qualifications are. I don't need to credential myself, because you have no respect for them regardless. And so if you look at it and I tell you something that's like, oh, well, based off of my experience, or based off of what I've been able to the answer is always normally, it's like, oh, now you're going to hit us with, based off, it's similar to when you listen to people, like when Kevin Samuels said it, a lot of times they would sit there, they would hit him with, and they would just demean his qualifications, as if his qualifications weren't equal to the people who came out of the same area that he did. And it was interesting to me. But I was going to ask, what do you think, Westradamus, is going to be my question back to you?
But you kissed Joe Rogan's ass, though. That part. Am I lying? Y'all stop me if I'm wrong. You have no problem listening. He say whatever he want to say about your own people. You, Westradamus, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're on the roll.
No, brother.
No. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You
Because
got
I'm gonna
it.
tell you, brother, something. This is why I'll never change. This is why I'll never change. Because in the end, respect is not given. It is not. Listen, people can say whatever they want to say. You know what I'm saying? You get what you earn. You only get what you take. You eat what you kill. That is it. So when people are trying, we have a lot of black men who think that if they continue to acquiesce, and they continue to bend, if they continue to yield, listen, man, you're going to be spending your life as a miserable individual if you don't decide to take a stand. What's your diamonds? Go ahead, brother. You know, I always love to hear what you brothers got to say.
Yeah.
Well, the question actually came from Gospel News. He said one of his comments, if you can bring it back up, was we're speaking about the heart, the black woman at the heart of the matter, and this is what I call what's called like the Matrix, right? It's something that we can't really see it or touch it, but we can feel it, right? And it's the construct that was built over us or built into us at birth. And they're able to, and we're held up under accountability to it because of no matter what, even when we're 18 or 17 or 15, it's like, oh, you're a man, no matter what. And we don't even understand what that is. Heck, I didn't understand. I didn't understand like, oh, you're a man until like I was like 30. I was like, oh, that's what you mean by saying that. Oh, I'm a man, And then after that, they have that card is like I'm a woman, right? It's like, oh, you're gonna let your woman do this, as a shaman type thing, and thus, okay, the Matrix. I know I'm taking the long way around, and of course we're raised up in this Matrix, right? And when you see child after child after child, it's a reoccurring theme that we suffer from a systemic portion of having self-esteem issues. You can see it, and you can see it if it comes out in colorism. You can see it as in, we're doing stupid things, getting into stupid crimes and things like that. It seems like it all stems from some type of self-esteem issue that we didn't get when we were at youth. So when it comes down to being treated as 3/5 of a person, were we already resented at birth, so therefore we're already being treated less than, so therefore ultimately we embody that, and then thus we always have a deferring personality.
Speak, black man.
Or like, what is it really? Or is it that us as men or us as kids, okay, we always trying to please mama, but mama might be very toxic, and so therefore that's reason, and so therefore we just marry our mother, so therefore that we can continue on this programming. So therefore we're into the Matrix, and then some people go crazy on it, and then that's when you start seeing outrageous things, or outrageous crimes, so to say, or like, what is it really? And no, because when you see people, okay, when you see people and you're just trying to understand, okay, why are you doing these things? Why are you clout chasing? Why are you doing all these other things? It's like, is it like a embodied inferiority complex that we have, that was given to us? Man, here, I'm about to start going in, but hey, man, I'm gonna yield my floor. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all jump in.
You say,
well, that's the only thing I was going to sit there and ask. I wanted to add to that is this. Okay, so I agree with 90% of what you said in regards to how there's a lot of things that we have that do come in. It's embodied for us. And I don't think there was something that you mentioned a while back, and is dealing with I keep, yeah, has a one of the things he talked about, and there's a theory that he talked about in the fact that many times black women, they love their sons, but they raise their daughters, and it's based off of. As I hate taking everything back to slavery, but it's based off a lot of things that came out of slavery on how women want to, and I think that also deals with you talking about the 3/5 of a man. I think that they don't fully look at us as men.
Yes.
Right? Because they know that a lot of our manhood was taken at that time, and just structurally coming down the pipeline to where we're at today on how to get to the point where they can now see that no, that was then. Now we are men. I say, and there was a lot of things that were taken, or even back then that they still had a man that was there, but viewing it from the lens or the standpoint of there's a book. God, Doug, you Tallahassee Coates, he wrote where he talking about I'm trying to remember the name of the book, but he was talking about how we don't even have authority over our own bodies many times, and how when the police come out, they have control over our bodies, and how when the government does things to us, that they have control of our bodies. And it's one of those things that the viewpoint of us is that I think that they're looking at it from the viewpoint of we're not the ones that's in control of the system, and that we don't have any authority within the system. And for them, it's trying to understand. Oh, like I talked about being in the boardroom, and this is the part where it would really frost my balls, where it's like, oh, I know that you, but if a white guy says it, he said it must be true. It's like I said the same thing. I have the same level of education. I have the same level of knowledge. I say. And I'm able to protect and provide for my family in in the same way, in much the same way at that time. I'm working these same jobs. I'm making the same type of money, blah, 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 blah. But the viewpoint still isn't there. And I think that a lot of that is like saying what you were talking about a moment ago in Western on things where we end up growing up and we marrying our mothers because it's ingrained in us. It's a behavior that's modeled for us. I think that for women, a lot of times they're carrying a lot of the same type of baggage when they're looking at it. And it's stuff where they have that same deal on what came from their mothers as well, right? So I think there's a lot of issues that are there, a lot of water under that bridge that needs to get resolved. And I think that trying to figure out, one of the things that we talked about with Davon Carlo a while back was apologizing to each other and then figuring out how to work it forward from now. And I don't know how to get that across, because a lot of them seem like they're extremely bitter whenever you tell them, hey, this stuff that you're doing is toxic. And let me read some of these comments. I'm missing a lot. Give me a hot minute here before we can continue going on. Let's see. We have 30 cents of acceptability. I think that was in regards to your terminology, Westradamus, about being 30 before you found it out. Let's see. The base group people shown through the women. Let's see. Seeking attention. Okay. I'm trying to go through these quick spots. You can go forward. I say you can't go forward unless you deal with the past. I do agree with that as well. And you. Okay. Yes, I did get that. All right, and so I apologize, West Thomas. Go ahead. I just want to get those out the way. You guys, either you or Dre, if you guys had something else that you guys want to bring to the floor.
Yeah, I'll let Dre go first, and after that, I can go more deeper in my thoughts.
Thank you, Black Man. I'll tell you, brothers. I read something one time. I believe it's for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I think it was him, and basically, I think it was he did a sermon called "The Community Can Rise No Higher Than Its Woman." Have you brothers heard that a community can rise no higher than its woman? And I never understood that when I initially heard it, but it wasn't until later that I understood that women set the moral bar for us. They give us something to aspire in terms of, because everything a heterosexual man does, he does for a woman. So when you have women, am I wrong? SB, stop me if I'm. Help me out, bro, Black Man.
Hey, brother, you are on point. That's what I'm just saying.
Okay, thank you. And when I see and when I see that our women have sunken so low, and when I see that, and I'm gonna tell you, Black men, something. The fact that we survived crack, HIV in prison over the last 30 years, the fact that we even here as Black men shows how resilient and how resourceful and how Black men are still excelling. Black men are still excelling at a clip that are on the arc up. You know what I'm saying? I can see black men moving in different areas, and I mean, and it's such a great thing. And so for us to be judged by our lowest, you know what I'm saying, with no other community, I'll tell you black men something. I have never heard another race of women disrespect their men publicly. Now, if they may do it privately or this, that, and I'm sure Asian women complain about Asian men. You know what I'm saying? European women. I'm sure there are circles of women, but I mean in mass. I mean in loud, wrong, weave, finger wearing, finger pointing, masculine. You know what I'm saying? I have never. This is the craziest thing to me. And I tell you, black men, something when you think about it, black men, we're being judged by a standard. Black men have never oppressed black women. We didn't. How the fuck could we? Oh, excuse me. How could we oppress anybody? What are you talking about? Those were white women's issues with white men. We had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you said, well, black men are oppressing you because you saw the color purple. You know what I'm saying? Man, it is a joke. Listening to black men, I'm gonna share with you, brother, something. You know, I know I'll be all over the place. You know, I don't mean to, brothers, but there's been some things going on in my life. I've had a new development. Now, black man, I didn't initially, I was seeing somebody while I was in prison. Okay, what before? And I thought we were going to get married. You know what I'm saying? Things didn't work out. I ended up getting locked up and so forth and so on. I got out. We were still in touch. Lord, that's the one I remember, the girl I told y'all I was going to sue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, now she's from Europe. She's from Czechoslovakia. Big titties, fat ass. 400. She got an 800 credit score, fellas. Like it's 7, 9, something like that. No kids, on her own. You know what I'm saying? Woo woo. Black men. I just got me a job today at Subway. At Subway, brothers. They just hired me today. Now,
Congratulations.
Thank you, brothers. Thank y'all very much. And I think I'm gonna get a second job. I think Lowe's is gonna hire me too. But I'll tell you, brother, something. Do y'all know that this woman and I'm going to introduce her to you too, because I want black men to see that money has nothing to do with being a man. You don't have to have money to get a woman. All you gotta do is be a man. She has no problem submitting. Now, yes, don't get it wrong, brothers. It's not perfect, and it's not like I think perfect is the correct word. But what she has recognized is, I want this man. She sees inherent value. She has decided to stick with me. She has decided that I don't care. I'm with him. Black woman, why you not support your man? And so now you gonna get mad when a black man don't choose you. She don't have no problem driving 2 hours to pick me up, black man. She out on her work days. These are the things that she is pouring into me, so I have no problem with black man pouring back in. Now, yes, I would love to build that with a black woman, but it didn't happen that way because you didn't want me. And I just say that, black men, there are options out here. Brothers don't have to take these things. When you being a man, black man, these options will be there for you. I guarantee it.
I definitely agree with you on it. And I'm glad that you found somebody. I am going to, so here's where I'm at with that now, because I'm looking at your comments, I'm looking at Gospel News as well as we're talking, and what I don't want it to become is a matter of divestment. Let's see, you're speaking reality, not found in the black woman, okay? And then let's see, and amen. All right, so so I agree with you that a lot of times, I'm not gonna say a lot of times, many times, our sisters do not see the value in us as men, and this is
a segment of men.
Okay.
That's fair.
It's not a blanket statement. It's only a segment.
A large segment, nonetheless, but a segment.
Yeah, and I agree with you on, but as both of you guys on it, and I'm trying to get away from. I don't want to go into a divestment deal because for me, like one of the things that you talked about is black woman, where you are with your black man, recognizing needing to pour that into the same way that these other people are pouring into us, and we're recognizing, or a lot of black men are starting to recognize that there is the sentiment that we are worth something to other people besides our sisters. And the reason why I'm pushing back a little bit is that what I want to have happen is to figure as a because and let me start at the end and come back. I find it is best for me to always start at the end. So if the goal here for me is, and this is, I'm not gonna say it's for everybody, but for me the goal is a strong Black community. And I know that the goal, in order to get to that goal, there has to be a strong Black family in order to get to the strong Black community. In order to have a strong Black family, that means that the Black man and the Black woman have to be able to get along, which is not happening right now. That's the crux of the issue of why we don't have, from my opinion, the strong Black community. And I could say, I've heard it said from a family member, and one of them they told me, well, whatever comes out of me is going to be Black, so it'll be okay, which is true. And I'm not disputing that whatever comes out of me is going to be Black. So my kids, regardless, they're going to be Black. And we have a whole plethora of history that says that that's true. That whatever comes out because we had, throughout slavery and the like, Black women, when they were sexually assaulted by white men and slave masters and the like, and the kids that came out of them that were the mulattoes and all these other little categories they had were still Black. They tried quadroons and octoons and all that stuff. You're still Black, and the mothers would still tell them you're Black. Conversely, and this is something I learned when and looking at it, I had to go back and start doing my research to see whether or not there was any validity to it. But Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she talked about the fact that many times the converse of that is that if the mother is not Black, and you as a Black man, you have a child with a woman who's not Black, many times what she'll tell her child, you're not Black. This is where, if I'm saying we're trying to get to a strong Black community and this is not a knock on you, Dre. This is not a knock on you. I'm just saying,
I know, brother. Come on.
So at this point, if I'm looking for a strong Black community, and I know that the Black woman should be a part of that, or it needs to be a part of that in order to have that strong Black community, because now you have the woman that's going to be the mother of the child is going to tell your child he or she is not Black. Not only is she going to tell him she or she is not Black. One of the things that Western Thomas you alluded to when you talked about we grow up and we end up marrying our mothers, right? If you have a son, he's going to look for somebody who's going to be like his mother. His mother's not Black. His mother's taught him he's not Black. He's going to be confused growing up, trying to figure out why it is I'm not Black, but I'm getting treated like I'm Black. Is one. Two, he's going to sit there and he's going to continue that legacy, so to speak, of getting someone who looks like his mother, and his mother not being Black. That's what he's going to have. Third, on where I'm looking at it from, is that in a situation like that, not only on average, women live longer than men. And if the goal again is having the strong Black community, if the woman lives longer than the man, all those resources that you've accumulated over your life, like I said, now you as you're taking those steps, and she's up there, she's patting you along, she's getting you going, she's pouring into you so that you're doing all the things that you need to do. Once you get to that point and you pass, like with Kobe Bryant when he passed, Vanessa Bryant ain't putting that money back into the Black community. That goes to Latinos, that goes to the Hispanic community, that goes to the Mexicans. That's not coming back to the Black community. And so I'm saying all that to say, if you're able to find it outside, I'm not saying don't do that. Do it if you can find it, and that's where you're at. Do it. I'm not knocking anybody for it, but I'm going to ask for all because I'm not saying don't divest. If you can find it, if you can figure out how to make it so that the Black woman can work with the Black man, that's where I would push. If the goal, and it's my goal, and it's not everybody else's goal, but my goal is I want an extremely strong Black family, and a Black community, and I know that starts with the Black family. And let me read some of these super chats. Let me read some of these chats real fast. I wish super chats. And let me read some of these chats real fast. Let's see. It is overwhelming to the point of being abandoning on the Black woman. That's one. I said.
I want to ask why on that.
Love.
Why?
It says we're going. Well, he's saying we're going where we're loved, and I get that. I get that aspect. Don't get me wrong. Because I'll be honest with you. Understanding and seeing. Before I get into that, let me see what he says next. It says, in part, that part of power to the people is dead. And if we're saying that part of power to the people is dead, gospel news, and that's where my argument is at. If that part of power to the people is dead, and we're saying as a blanket statement, just leave Black women, then what you're saying is kill the Black community. Right, and that's where that's where I'm personally. I'm not willing to go there. I'm willing to say that on an individual basis, if you find it outside, great. But as a community, and if our sisters start seeing us leave in droves, maybe that might be something. But I don't want it to be so much that we leave in, like I said, we leave in droves where the damage is done, and then there is no black community. As a, your children are all going to be as a watered down from the generation to the generation to the generation to the generation, and it goes into one of the things that was talked about in the ISIS papers, and what's the other book I'm thinking of, where they talked about this system of racism, white supremacy. So, and I don't, and I'm not saying that because I don't want to knock our brothers out there, like the brother on Zoom to Thailand, or the brother like you, Dre, when you guys have found love outside of the community. So I'm not knocking the love, I'm not knocking the relationship, I'm not knocking any of that, but I'm saying that what I don't want to go into is we're just going to divest from black women and say that's it. We're closing the door and we're moving on from black women. But let me catch this other one. So it says, whatever we mix is black. And that's how it started. Gospel News. I agree with you. Whatever comes out of me is going to be black. However, if the woman that I marry or the woman that's having my children, if she's a black woman, she's going to, and this is the converse of where it kind of gets interesting, because we have years and years and years of experience or data that says this is the case. When black women have children by by men that are not black, their children come out, they always tell them, you're black. Like, you're part of this black community. You're going to be treated as black. Understand, little boy, that you might have what they call good hair, and you and all this other stuff, and you might be light skinned, and you light bright, and how my grandmother say, light bright and damn near white. You might have all that, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you're still black, and their mothers would tell them that. But if the mother is not black, as a Gospel News, 9 times out of 10, they're telling their kids, and it's very rare where they'll tell them, yes, you are black. Yes, you are. One of the people I can think of, and he's not even from here, he's over in London, is that guy named Akala, and he was taught by that brother Robin Walker, strong, powerful brother, and brother Akala, he was a strong, powerful brother as well. Has a mother white, father black, but his mother made sure that he had that black influence, and he'll acknowledge, and he talks about the fact that's the anomaly, that's not the norm. And and if it was the norm, I'd be like, what you're saying, by all means, like they talk about when we move into someplace, it's the white flight. When the white folks move out, we move into the inner city, they fly. I would say if that was the same thing with birth, they say, hey, go for it, get all the gusto. But regardless of how light we are, how much our hair might be straight or wavy, we're still black. And if the mother, if you can get one with a college mom to say, hey, I know that I might not be black, but you're black. And not only you're black, let's make sure that you understand about your heritage and what your culture is as being black. And I don't mean the hip hop culture of shaking your booty. I mean the actual culture of what you come from being black. So that's where I'm at with that. And with Gospel News, let's see, then it becomes your job to teach them who they are. You can teach, and this is okay. This is gonna be this one. I guess I'm gonna piss somebody off with this one. Men and women have strengths, and physically, we're stronger, we're faster than women. We take the leadership roles. One of the things that we talk about is that the level of aggression or the ability to take that leadership role, to take that stand outside of the home, to protect, to provide. That is us as men, and that is what we are better at, and that is what we are built for. Nurturing, teaching, and being the first teacher for our kids. That is what our women are going to do. And if you marry or you get a woman who's not going to be online, or who can badmouth you and put you down, and no matter how much you think that you're going to overcome that as a father, that's going to be a very, very extremely high mountain that you're going to have to climb. And I say this from somebody who deals with divorces and families on a regular basis. So Gospel News, it sounds nice in theory to say it that way. And I'm not saying that you don't. This is not me saying that you don't. But I'm going to say that the level of influence that you exhibit within the family and the level of influence that the mother exhibits is going to be two vastly different things. And as hard as you're going to try, the level of influence that she's going to exhibit in that, or influence on the kids specifically, is going to be a lot greater than yours. And that's on average. I can say that, and I'll say that empirically. Right, from everything that I've seen, and you go through your CLIs and everything else, or continuing levels of education, CLEs, in law and whatnot, they point that out as well, and it's what you're going to see on a regular basis. Is that you might think that it's my job, and it is your job. As in, this is your job to participate in that process the entire way through. But just understand that as much as it is your job, as a someone can definitely undermine that job that you're doing. And if as a
That's
you might want,
facts.
yeah, as a you might want to say, hey, I taught my kids that they are black, and I put that into them, and I poured it into them. And if their mother is undermining everything that you're saying, that you're climbing a high hill. I mean, that is. I'm not gonna say insurmountable, but that's gonna be a difficult hill to get over. That's going to be an extremely difficult one for you to get over, because the level of influence within the home, that is what I say, that is the domain of that woman, and that woman is you might be king over the home, but the influence exerted within the home, that is where that is where their power lies. And I say that because a lot of times we say women don't have power. Some people say, but they have a lot of power within that home and within that family, especially within that regard. Not within as a, but anyway, let me read the other ones, and let me see. Why get a woman who's going to destroy your character altogether? I agree with that as well. I'm not telling you to get a woman that's going to destroy your character. That's why I'm trying to
That,
dance
that
here.
hold on here. Let me take this one.
Go for it.
All right, that's like getting a woman that's going to destroy your character. Okay, that's your choice. All right, you're laying down with this person. All right, so that's really on you, the person. You have to have accountability for that. Who you make your babies with. Number two, talking about accountability. All right, no, you have to see, because some people look at the mirror and they hate themselves, and what they do is they take that hate because of some parent or some person taught them to hate themselves. It can be the system, it could be your parents, it can be anybody, right? And then what they do is they start spewing all this hate. And after that, they see somebody looking just like them, so therefore they start placing nothing but hatred on them. It's because they hate themselves. You know, and therefore that's why they're able to start hating everybody else, and that look just like them. And just tying it back with the Kevin Samuels thing. I think that's the reason why some people are tap dancing on his grave. It's like, hey, we put him down. Like he finally got put down and things like that. Um, but but back on to the women, it's all about your vetting process. Um, yeah, I know up to a certain point we are trained for a certain way or conditioned for a certain way, but sooner or later that condition is going to start wearing off around about 32. And then after that, then you're like, oh, okay, this is what this is. Oh, this is what this is. And after that, you start figuring the whole things out. A lot of things out. That's the reason why a lot of our first marriages fail, is because we end up marrying our mother and we're like, okay, I'm out. And then if we do get to our second one, we're just like, okay, now we're more selective. It's like, all right, we don't want to get we don't want to have kids with a person that's this, that, and the other. All right. So a lot of accountability comes on us on that particular, talking about get a woman that's going to bash your character and all that other good stuff. And then number two is all about, you don't allow somebody to demean you or self-abase you or anything like that. You don't allow another person. Sometimes we do it to ourselves, and at that, and people project that. So don't allow anybody to subject your divinity to. Like you're a divine person. You're just like, everything about you is so divine, just so perfect. How you're created, how you're made, just for you just to get here, from your mother's womb, and it's just, I just think that we just need to have like a re-education thing, because like just because what has happened, what I've seen is we have given in to our deepest, darkest depths of our insecurities, and after that, now we're just spewing it out. And of course, we see that's entertainment, but really it's very detrimental to our culture. I yield the floor.
Okay, so before there's something I want to share. I've alluded to it. There's a sister, and one of the things that she talks about, and I'm going to share this with you guys. So let me get my screen here, or let me get this as a. I'm trying to get to a point where here we go. So bear with me here. I'm not exactly on the point where I need to be at, so it's going to be give me a few seconds here. Actually, you know what? We'll just start it from here. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. I've talked about this sister, Frances Cress Welsing, or Welsing. Uh, she is a psychiatrist, which means that she is also a medical doctor. So in order to be a psychiatrist, you need to be able to, or you're going to go to medical school. And this is one of those. So she's not talking out the side of her neck, just talking about things that she doesn't know anything about. But this is a talk that she gave a while back. This is 80s, around that time frame. But here she's talking about the chessboard that deals with racism, white supremacy, and how we how it's not understanding the system and dealing with things that we have here today. It's like empower people, but not the BS. I agree with that. So here, let me just play this for you guys, and we'll talk about it in a second here.
Smart. So what do I propose? Because we are in a giant chess game. And I think that chess is a very excellent not to white supremacy. Why? Because in chess, the white side always moves first. So that means that they're playing offense, defense, and black has to play catch-up defense, offense, right? But that's okay, because you can win from the black side of the board if you understand the game. So I propose crest chess. That's like laying out the chessboard for an understanding of white supremacy. So you put white on this side and black on this side, and instead of having 8 rows, you try to put 9. So you have economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, I got more, politics, religion, sex, and war. And so this is under sex, if you will. So they make a move, I'm going to make you make inferiorized people, because I can always overwhelm inferiorized people. So on our side of the board, under sex, my recommendation is no black woman have a child before 30, no black man have a child before 35, no more than 2, no closer together than 3 years apart, as a strategy for making soldiers. She has some old parents. So that's like you can tell little children who've been reared around their grandparents. There's a difference between somebody who is 14 and somebody who's 34. Make no mistake about it. They would prefer, and this is interesting. This is
Give me
so
one
interesting
second here.
to
Let me see if I
me.
can find.
After I start talking about this 30, 35, no more than 2, no closer together than 3 years apart. Now, you know how they have on TV, they bring up the black lady who has 15.
I'm
And you got all these, Sally Jesse
there's a point that she makes on this chessboard about
begins to fight for the black teenager to have children. I'm saying, and the somebody who is have emotional maturity to make a long black king. The reason that I say white king, checkmate black king. The reason that I say it is that if white always moves first, it's not sufficient to say that the game of chess is about checkmating the king. White is making the aggressive or the offensive attack. So the game has to be about what? White king checkmating black king, right? So this is the same thing as white genetic survival. The war for white genetic survival. Okay, on this side of the board, they say, well, we have produced people who didn't get enough lap time, and we have made them sex obsessed.
as I'm trying to find one
James
particular
Brown
part.
said, "Get on up, sex machine." We missed. And then they found out that was that book talked about 69. Many copies. Then people had to sign their names to get theory of a virus called Ebola.
All right, so I'm gonna have to find it for you guys and share it with you guys. But as a in her chess analogy, one of the things she talks about is turning on the people on the same side of the board as you. And right now she's going through the origin of AIDS, and I'm trying to get to the part where she's talking about turning on people that look like you, turning on people that are on the same side of the board as you, and why you would do that. So let me see.
You see, so if anybody comes, well, are you talking about a conspiracy, Dr. Wilson?
Give me a minute here. And I apologize. I say if I'd have known that we were going to be talking about it, I would have sat down and had this lined out earlier to for this particular part. But
which means half. Half what?
No, that's not it. But anyway, so she gets into a point where she's talking on her chessboard, and she alludes to why it is that you, as a people, would be on the same side, and you look at the person that looks like you, and you end up turning on the person that looks just like you. And that was one of the things that she's going to be talking about here. And I apologize. What I'll probably do is I'll clip that, bring that in, and I will show that on the next time that we all get together. But that was one of the things that she was talking about. And did I lose Western Dominance? I guess I did. I apologize. Maybe she was too boring for him.
SB, may I say something?
Yeah. Mostly ever. I apologize.
No, I didn't know if you had, obviously you got a format, and I just wanted you to know that, brother. You first of all, you my comrade, you my brother in the struggle. You don't ever have to apologize. You know what I'm saying? And you don't qualify yourself, black man, we men. You know what I'm saying? Speak your piece. I want to say the number one, because I didn't take anything you said offensive, and I'll tell you too, but brother, I want to say that I agree. I definitely do not think divestment is it. I'm with you on that. But I guess that would be with an asterisk. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell you, SB, I believe that the sooner the pain starts, the sooner it will end. I know that might think the sooner it starts is the sooner it will end. And a lot of these women, I think because your position is noble. You know what I'm saying? And and it's virtuous, and I love that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you, I think for me personally, I'm not interested in our community. I'm interested in black men. Because what I believe is, respectfully, if we get ourselves together, then the whole world opens up with us. I don't think that women can be a part of this because they have decided that on the whole. Now we're not talking about all, because we know there are some great black women. The sister Dee Dee, she does a great job. The sister Lolita Gore, and you know what I'm saying, the Crimson Cure. You know about her?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Oh God, Lord, you know what I'm saying? So there are some black women out here that are speaking the real, and they have not fallen for this nonsense. But
correct.
These modern women, but they're outnumbered. SB, it's like a gang. They are outnumbered, man. They're outflanked, they're outnumbered, and they're outgunned by the women that they're up against, and with the system that backs them up. So that's why I say, you know what I mean? And look here, brothers, we have to focus on each other. We have to focus on doing the things that we can do that are going to be conducive to productivity and longevity. And the black women that are with us, we want you. But those who are not, we leave you to the wolves. I have no tolerance for that, SB. We're in a war. You know what I'm saying? It's collateral damage, man. Straight up. That's where I'm at with it, man.
I hear you. And going back to that point that you're making, when I say about the black community, and you talking about black men, I think they were talking about the same thing. It's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. And this is what I mean by that. If there is no black community, and as a black man and black woman separating, like the analogy or the trajectory that I talked about, if you divest and there's more and more and more, it has a mix more and more, you're not going to have black men. And you're not going to have, so you're trying to make strong black men, it's going to be difficult if you don't have black men. And this is where, so for me coming back to it, I agree with you on it because I want to have strong black men because strong black men are part of the core of a strong black community. That is where the black community starts. Is if you have strong black men and strong black women. And I agree with you on the pain needs to start. And if black women start understanding, this is where the value of Kevin Samuels came in initially, or I shouldn't even say initially, where that value came in for me, was expressing to black women that the games that you're playing are not going to work anymore. And if you continue to play these games, if you continue to not take accountability, if you continue to demean your place within our community, if you continue to degrade the black man, then what you're going to find is there are not going to be any more black men. There's not going to be a black community, and it's not going to be at the hands of somebody else. It's going to be at the hands of those black women, because like I talked about a moment ago, they have power and authority within the family, although they always like to pretend as if there is no power. Or we got to defer to what you guys do or what the white man has done, and da-da-da-da-da-da, which historically that would be true. But where we're at right now, what we're dealing with right now, we're dealing with the fact that they have a place within the family, and that what they're trying to do, they're mad at how nature has made them. And that, like, one of the things that you mentioned earlier that I wholeheartedly agree with is that not only are they mad at what nature has made them, they bought in to the white woman's BS. And so they have the same issues.
Right.
The thing that you point out, we ain't never did these things to you.
Never.
You've not been us. I say, and then you sit there, you take a movie and the narrative that they want to spin, and you run with that narrative. And you say, I know somebody, there's Jaquita or LaQuanda or whoever, and she experienced something bad, even though I haven't experienced it, and I'm going to chalk it up to that's exactly what you have done to us as black men. And they bought into the lie. And until they are able to understand that you bought into the lie and you're helping with the degradation, I'm not going to say helping with, you are at fault in causing the degradation of the black community. Why would I say that the black woman is causing the degradation? Because I know my sisters are going to gather. They're like, how can you put that all on us? I'll tell you why I'm putting it on you and why I'm so heavy on my sisters. When it comes to our community and the power within our community, because if black women are complaining about the quality of black men that are coming out of our community, and we're looking at a community that has overwhelmingly shown itself to be one where it is a single mother community, and our sisters are selecting men at a clip because if they're going to say, well, we didn't have a father, I didn't have a this, I didn't have that. That might all be true. But once you recognize that what you are doing is wrong, it is incumbent upon you, because you are the one that's now, our sisters are inculcating this into the next generation, to the young men that are coming up. They are inculcating and even when as a gospel news talks about the explosion of gay black man comes from black women who hate black men, that's part of it. There's another aspect of black women that help with intentionally and unintentionally. But it says what the white man has done, we have done to them. We haven't done to them, but join the case as we did. So what I'm looking at, one of the things that Dr. Wilson in her research, also again going back to what she stated, one of the other aspects that she talks about, and she's emphatic with it. So I'm trying to give attribution where attribution is deserved. So I'm not taking credit for something I didn't come up with. But one of the other things that she talks about is a lot of times, and this is something that Shahrazad Ali also talked about, is that when our sisters have our young brothers coming on up in these single women or single parent households that are just the women, these strong black women that they always have and instead of saying that no, this is not the right thing to do, and the young boys are not getting their needs met, and they recognize, hey, mama's spending more time with my sister as she's doing her hair and doing her nails, and then the little boy comes up and he says, hey, mama, how about you do my hair and do my nails so that he can get that time, right? Mm-hmm. So whether it's intentional or unintentional, it's like, oh, I'll do that for you. And she's again going back to what we talked about earlier. She's loving her son but raising her daughter, right? And the outcomes that you're getting from that, and what you're seeing in the community that comes from that, is coming as a direct consequence of the choices our sisters are making. And whether or not they recognize that or not, blaming us as black men for it when it is directly within their purview, within the family. And as young men, I say, because I talk to my kids on a regular basis, and it's like, recognizing where my authority began and ended in their growing up as a being a father who provided for my family. My ex never had to work, right? She worked only when she felt like, and her money was always in her pocket, and my money always took care of the household, right? And having that system, but still talking to my children and them not understanding that until they became adults.
Mhm.
Right? But as children, the influence that mama had was a lot greater than the influence dad had, as far as sometimes saying, hey, we don't have to tell your dad about this, or hey, let's not talk. We don't mention this to your pops. Hey, let's not, right? And then they take that. It's like, well, oh, you know how your dad is. And I was a disciplinarian in the house, so it was one of those things like, do you want to have to deal with that? So I would, well, let's keep this among ourselves, right? And you find yourself, that's something going towards what Gospel News talked about as far as the destruction within the family is something that our sisters have to take ownership for. And they need to acknowledge that that's where that's at, and they understand that they have power within the family. So when they go like, oh, well, you don't have the power, that's not true. They have that power. It's whether or not they want to utilize it or take accountability for it and say that this is the way that they need to use it and be more responsible in how they use that power within the household. And let me read this thing. I'm going to let you talk. I apologize. Let's see. What the white man has done, we haven't done to them, but joining the case as we did, or cause as we did. And then he says, he began to imitate his sister to get love from his mother. That's correct. And that was one of the things that they talked about as well. Is a lot of times young boys, young men want to get that love. They want that attention also. They're looking for attention. There is no father in the home. There is no male figure in the home. They're trying to get that attention from their mother. They're competing with their sister for their mother's attention. And what they're getting and what they're noticing that is, because kids aren't stupid. You're noticing that sister's getting that attention by getting her hair done, getting her nails done, having spa days or whatever it is that she's having with mom. Well, maybe not together having spa days, but having that time with mom doing feminine things. And little boys want to have that attention and having that shine with mom will also do feminine things. But as I yield the floor, I apologize. I got started on that and I got going. But go ahead.
No, SB. You know what I'm saying? You know, I love to hear my brother kick that knowledge. You know, SB, as I listen to you, brother, and so many things, you know, so many ideas, you know, circle around and, you know, trying to, you know, gain clarity into a situation. And I just believe that I just don't see a lot of help for people who have decided, who have their mind made up, because they, in their minds, like you said, they're mad at nature itself. They're mad because they're not men. So the fact that you don't think that you have to submit.
I think I just lost you there, Dre. Are you there? Let me turn your volume up. Maybe. I think we lost him. Dre, are you there? Dre, are you okay? So I guess the brother is either, as a Dre, if you can hear me, your microphone is cut off. It said you cut off right after you said they don't have to submit. And whenever you can get your mic back up and working for us, I will put you. I will shut up and let you get after it. That being said, so where I'm at, let's see. What am I missing here? Am I missing anything? Because I just cut out on me. Nothing's on soloed. Oh, you back, Dre?
Yes, my apologies.
No, so you cut out on submit. That's where you cut out on us at.
Yes, thank you. I don't think that they understand that the true power lies in their femininity. And that is where you gain the traction that you're looking for, because very few men can resist the femininity of a woman, of a submissive, sweet, caring, wholesome woman. She basically has the world in the palm of her hand. And the fact that they don't even know that is probably the saddest part of it all, because everything that men do, we do for women. The reason we want to procreate, the reason that we want to build homes, and the reason we want to dress nice, and everything that we do is for the love and recognition of a woman. And the fact that they don't even understand that their true power is there. You know what I'm saying? All you have to do is embrace it and come back to your men. Because the truth be told, we'll have it. There are very few black men that are going to say, you know what? Nah, y'all too far. If you come back humble and you come back with a heart ready to serve, you know, SB, there are women out here that won't even serve a man a plate of food. They think that's considered slavery, but yet you want him to go out here and provide you with some bullshit fictitious lifestyle that you saw on Love and Hip Hop. But you can't even cook him a home cooked meal. You can't make no biscuits from scratch. You can't get in there and have the kitchen smelling. Oh, you know what I'm saying? You know how it be, SB, when you're from it, she in there cooking. She got her ass half out. And you what? Oh, I ain't never letting you go. You got to. Now, my woman, SB, she can't cook, bless her heart. But I'm a great cook. But she's very, very clean. And I'm a walking tornado. So we have to compromise. Baby, you cook, I'll keep clean. Okay, there it is. That to me is I don't like the word compromise. I'll be honest. I looked this word up. So I don't even know why I said compromise. I like negotiation better. You're a lawyer, so you can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I found out that a compromise is basically a deal where neither party actually gets what they want.
Correct.
Whereas a negotiation leaves both parties feeling fulfilled.
Correct.
I like that as video attorney. You can get that.
Everybody sit there. There's a guy named Chris Voss. He would love you on that one. He was a former FBI negotiator, and he has that distinction a lot. But but we get to it, like I said, how your team looks, because I hate saying like this, but that's a teamwork issue, right? So that's between you and the people on your team. So not everybody on your team, not every team has a Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson in the backcourt, right? Not everybody. Well, you have 2 3-point shooting guards. That's not how every team looks. Not every team has a Giannis Antetokounmpo on there, where the guy's gonna sit there and give you 30 and 10 on a night. I say, playing down in the paint. That's not every team. Not every team has a Kevin Durant or a LeBron James, right? How that looks on your team and what's necessary in order to complete that to make that team work, that's between you and that's on your team on what that's going to look like. So whether you want to cook or you don't want to cook, and that's what she's contributing. She's not cooking, but she's contributing these other things to your team, and your team works. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I'll tell you, I like to cook. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's one of my skills, brother. I can't wait to see. Listen, brother, I'm telling you, I have a natural, and I'm naturally creative. So you know what I mean? I love to get in there. That's it's a little bit of a stress reliever, and if she loves it, you know, we'll get out there. You know what I mean? And, you know, I like them tomahawk steaks, and I'll season them up. And we go out there, drink wild red wine in front of the fireplace outside, and you know what I mean? I'm with that, but like I say, but I'm terrible when it comes to cleaning up and organizing, and you know, everything is all over the place. It looked like a bomb drop. Yeah. Now she has the heart to say, you know what, my baby, he's a walking tornado, but I'm going to help him. You know what I mean? So that way, you don't allow me to be masculine because I am masculine. But what you understand is, my money is not a direct. What am I looking for? It's not a. It has no bearing on whether or not I'm a man or not. Either there's a lot of guys who've done a lot of things. SB, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when they got some money, you know what I'm saying? But does that make you a man? Do you have character? Do you have integrity? Do you have intestinal fortitude? Do other men recognize you as a peer and say, you know what? That's a man. Because men say other men are men. I say you're a man. SB, you say if I'm a man. Women can't give that title.
No.
It's not for them. Other men recognize and say, they're gonna win. I can smell it on.
That's nothing but facts. Nothing but facts. And with that, I'll be honest with you. I'm just looking at the time right now. It's almost 45 after the hour right now. We've been at an hour and 45, and I'm getting ready to shut this down. But I wanted to tell you, I definitely enjoyed you coming up. I know we kind of veered off subject a little bit. I just realized that I'm technical. I was say in regards to Kevin Samuels, but yeah, hopefully, I know Westradamus said. He thinks it's probably going to be more than once or twice of that because I'm like, I'm hoping this is one of the last times I'm going to be talking about this. And I do agree. I'm going to take my tinfoil hat off right now, so I don't think about it as a conspiracy. I'm going to look at it as it might be just as who was that? O'Shea Duke Jackson talked about the lifestyle as well as the speed he was living, along with the Red Bulls and everything else, might have been a contributing factor. Because 56 ain't that far away from me. That's less than a decade for me at this point. So I'm looking at it like, that ain't a lot of time.
Respectfully, SB, to my knowledge, I understand he was 53. I think there's a misquote there.
Is it?
I
Okay.
always remember him saying he was 52, turning 53. I believe he was 53.
If he's 53, that's even less time because I thought it was 57 time. That's even more detrimental, and that scares the dog's snot out of me. If you just then I should say that. But hey, when you go, you go. I won't know. But I say I want to give you the last word. I said because I want to get out of here at 8:45, and then I'm going to sit there and shut us down. I said, so you got a last word for us?
Yes, SB. First of all, as usual, I always thank you. Shout out to Wesley Diamond. Don't know where that brother went. Hopefully everything is fine on his end. Shout out to the chat and anybody who had the opportunity of listening. Please respect my brother SB. Subscribe to his channel. Get with these brothers. Get with Wesley Diamond. Please, man, support black men. I'll tell you, brother. It's very despicable that people find hope and find satisfaction in another black man's demise. But I'll tell you this, I got one question. How is Kevin Samuel's demise or the demise of any other black man bringing you closer to any of your goals? You still going to bed alone. You still got nobody. And that's the bottom line. And as Kevin said, you'll die dog, die alone. Shout out to SB. I don't care about no trouble. So be it.
Thank you very much. You have a good one, Dre. And with that, I know I didn't tell you guys when I started. Love you. Hope you guys have a blessed day. And may you always, always, always have peace in your life. And with that, we are out.
Yes, sir.